Today I thought I'd do another master copy. I've chosen Ernest Buckmaster, a Melbourne Australian painter, brilliant plein air painter. His light, his colour were just magic. He was kind of a painter who came on after Streeton. There was Theodore Penley Boyd, Harold Herbert, Robert Johnson, Elias Gruner, but Ernest Buckmaster really did make a name for himself as a portrait painter as well. Still life was magnificent as well. His work has given me great inspiration, so I hope I do it justice. Let's see how I go. Okay, these are quite interesting to do. Little backstory though. When I was a young painter, just sort of finding my way, an artist friend said to me, "How many master copies are you doing? Are you doing them regularly or..." And I thought I wasn't quite sure what he meant. And then when I worked out what he was talking about, I said, I thought that was kind of against the rules. They were something that you're not supposed to do. And he says, no, they've been doing them for centuries and it's a great way to learn. And this was probably in the late 80s, early 90s. And he said they're possibly most likely still doing them in Europe. And so that's what sort of got my knowledge of the concept of a master copy sort of going. And definitely in my 20s, I did them very regularly, but it's probably nearly 25, 30 years before I really ever did one again. And I think that's probably partly due to you kind of don't want to tinker too much with your own individual style. But then once I realised, you know what, my approach and style is fairly well ingrained, this can be another way to just enhance my approach. And also every artist has information and ideas in their painting, in their brush mark that we can learn from. So that's why I've come back to the concept more sort of in the last, say, 12 months. And I'll hopefully sort of keep doing them for my own sort of benefit, and we'll aim to sort of film the odd one where we think it'll sort of help. So this is from Ernest Buckmaster. Unfortunately, he probably was in the shadow of Arthur Streeton quite a bit, and unfortunately, in a national sense for painting, he didn't really sort of get the recognition that he probably could have or should have. But he was trained in the school of painting at the time, but also it was probably when Impressionism was starting to fade as the new movement as well. And the modern approach was more taking over. Not that it was actually more modern or better, I do believe. There's benefits with realism, abstraction, with everything, but I think it's normally where and what we take that is the key factor in learning, I think, how we respond to things that we see. Artists' work, for instance. Everyone or most people may take away quite a different thing. And I have a feeling this was a Victorian coastal scene, but I'm not 100% sure because Buckmaster did travel to New South Wales, throughout, of course, Victoria, but New Zealand as well. So I'm just getting those background shapes in. And he was a marvellous painter of light. So I think that's something that we probably, myself and Buckmaster, were quite influenced from. Not really only Streeton, to be brutally honest, because Elias Gruner, Harold Herbert were excellent painters of light and had a great use and sense of colour as well. Because the great thing with these it reduces the worry and the concern of editing, composition, so we really can just do pure painting, pure monkey see, monkey do almost. So it really is elevating our learning experience. I actually do have a book on Buckmaster's work. It was released in about 1992 or 93. It was about $100 back then, so it was an excellent book. But I've only read sort of passages here and there, and I've never really been someone who is super keen on checking someone's brushes and paints, but with saying this and thinking about this, it possibly isn't too bad of an idea just to get an idea of what his tools were. So I normally don't go for such a small brush at this stage. That's the beauty of oils, is that if I think I've left out a shadow or a shape, I can come back in and just place it back in. Sometimes I may need to grab a palette knife or even a bit of a rag just to cut back into that layer of paint, because ultimately that's probably the one misunderstanding that a lot of new oil painters make, that we're really sculpting from those early thin passages to thicker paint, and there is a layering effect there that is very wise and important to follow with. So now it looks like I've got quite a bit of ultramarine blue and quite a bit of white. This passage is, the thought process, probably more important than the actual colour, to be brutally honest. It's the value, how light and how dark. Because if I do go too dark, it can make a sunny day appear more overcast, dull, flat. Because that's what a overcast sky normally does to a scene. Even though we can have pretty grey sky, but a bit of light blasting out. But it's more the psychology, I think, that blue water, blue sky, lots of colour, lots of sharp edges normally do resonate a sunny day. So just coming back in and trying not to fiddle, that's the one key factor, checking those values. And Buckmaster truly was a great tonalist. Probably his foliage sometimes gets a little too soft-edged, and they almost appear like little cauliflower trees or broccoli trees, where I think that was the one thing that Streeton did get. He got a certain amount of real sort of energy from his foliage. So if Buckmaster had any slight little weakness, that's what it might be. And that's sort of some of the things that we learn when we're on the journey of doing master copies. So it's never ending. Well, I think I achieved the objective that I tried to get with this one. Tonal values, tonal contrast, brushwork, and I think they came through really strong. Hopefully Buckmaster will be pleased with my effort. Thanks for watching. All the best. Bye for now.